Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here, welcome back to Extra Gent Scents. I've talked a number of times about how you don't necessarily always have to lump fragrances into a specific season and then only use it then. So for example, if you've got a fragrance that most people say is a winter fragrance, you can still wear it during the summer. Maybe don't spray as much on, but if you're gonna be somewhere where it's air conditioned all day, it doesn't make a huge difference, so you can wear it if you want. And same thing goes for summer fragrances during winter. Actually, I would say even more so. It is, I think, a little easier to wear a summertime fragrance or a fresh fragrance during winter than vice versa, because like I kind of talked about just a second ago, if you have a really heavy fragrance on in summer and you spray it on as much as you would during winter, probably not going to go over that well. Spray it less, you'll be fine. But with fresh fragrances during the winter, you can load those bad boys down. You can spray yourself about 25 times. It'll be okay, probably. And with that in mind, today I'm gonna be talking to you guys about some different fragrances that are considered more summertime scents or spring summer scents that actually, in the cold, smell awesome. Maybe even better than during summer when it's hot outside. All these are gonna be linked in the description, so feel free to check them out down there. And let's get it kicked off with this one from John Varvados, XX Artisan Teal. Now this does have a beautiful bottle. That doesn't ultimately matter as far as how the fragrance smells, but man, does that look good on a shelf. There's one thing Varvados does very well. They've got just this bottle shape, you know, the standard bottle shape, but they always dress it up and make it look nice. So how does this one smell? Well, it's a little bit similar in ways to Yves Saint Laurent Y, the Eau de Toilette, which you might actually see here in a second, but we'll get to that when we get to it. So it has a sea salty freshness to it, but then it's also sweet, has water lily in there, a little bit of citrus off the top as well. And in the winter, which really this happens with all of these, but just that freshness gets elevated even further. So something that's fresh, clean, refreshing during summer. In winter, when that cold air hits it, it just takes on, I know this is very obvious, but like an additional icy blast almost. And so when you smell it, it's just invigorating. It's like chewing 5 gum, except nothing at all like, it's like the commercials for chewing 5 gum.
Peppermint it cools as you chew. New 5 gum.
Intensity! This one, really easy to wear, super pleasant, not that expensive from discounters, and even if the performance is not amazing, because it is cheap and it's during winter, you can load it down. Not gonna matter. Spray it on 30 times. Maybe don't actually do that. That could be detrimental, but do spray it on a lot. Aqua Deo up next, Profundo. Of course, they're coming out with the new Aqua Deo Profundo 2024. So I don't know if it's gonna be the exact same as this one or if it's gonna be different. I don't know if they're just changing the bottle or if they're changing the bottle and the formulation, but as it stands today, this version of Profundo smells awesome in the cold. And that's another one that should not be too much of a surprise. I mean, it's Aqua Deo. Because I can tell you that for a lot of people, seasonality for fragrances does not even exist. So for a ton of guys out there, if Aqua Deo or a form of it is their signature scent, what they always wear, they're wearing it during winter. You know, this isn't something where they go, oh, it's, you know, what is it? It's November, can't wear it anymore because your watch tells you the date. The entire Aqua Deo line in general just made to be worn, and that includes winter. Again, nice freshness in here that's going to be elevated even further when it gets chilly out. You could also go with the Parfum version if you wanted a little more heaviness in the base. I usually wear Profundo, that's my favorite, but Parfum would work just as well, if not better. Something a little different, and by little, I definitely mean little, Carner Barcelona's Tennis Club. Now, I bought this one from fragrancebuy.ca. I don't know if they still have it there. It was really cheap. Part of the reason is because it is a 1 ounce bottle, very tiny, and mine also has an awful atomizer. Truly, truly awful. Let's see if it's gonna work correctly here. Come in, let's give it a try. Do you see that? It's bad, truly awful. Sometimes it'll work okay. Other times it'll do that, where it just goes, it's like a car misfiring or something. It just doesn't want to work sometimes.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Now, the fragrance itself is very green. I know, late breaking news. The bottle is green, it's called Tennis Club. The fragrance is green. But I would remiss not to tell you that it is indeed green. So it has bergamot, it has petitgrain, solar notes in here, sea notes as well. Very fresh. It does have more of that herbaceousness to it, that aromatic feel to it. It does remind you a little bit of being outside in the spring. And frankly, it's really cold outside and everything is gray and gloomy. I can use a little bit of that. A little pick-me-up, you know, release a little dopamine in my brain. Smell something like that and go, ah, yeah, that smells like when it was nice and warm and the birds were out. And then you just look around at everything being a gray wasteland and you go, 3 more months of this. Oh, but that's nice. So tennis club, yeah, this one I have snuck out and worn a couple times this winter, even though it is kind of a pain to actually wear it. That actually sounded like a decent spray, was it? It works! Until next time I try to wear it. Okay, Chrome Aqua up next. Now this is one that I've talked about before a number of times as being a fragrance that I like to wear in the winter. And actually, sometimes I feel like I actually reach for this more during the winter. I would prefer to wear it more during the winter than summer. And that's not because it's a bad summer fragrance, because it isn't. It's just this one, I think really is the first fragrance that made me stop and think for a second and go, why have I been doing this for so many years? Legitimately, for years and years. It was drilled into my head. This is for this is for that, this is for this is for that, right? Even when I was collecting stuff back when I was a teenager, okay? So it took that long before I actually stopped and thought, wait, what? Why am I lumping things into seasons? Like, I understand that it makes sense to do that because it helps people understand this is the best time to wear it and everything, but I think also it limits you sometimes. And the mint that's in here, that's really what helps set this off. In wintertime, this is absolutely stunning. And I think that this, regardless of year, time of year usage, is a great buy. Really cheap from discounters. Okay, it's Y Eau de Toilette from Yves Saint Laurent. I mentioned that this smells like that. They have similarities. And since this smells good in winter, guess what? This also smells good during winter. Yeah. Y Eau de Toilette is really a fragrance that can be a year-round staple for a lot of people. This one is awesome in the office. Really good compliment puller. Y Eau de Parfum gets all the love, and it makes sense. Big compliment puller, great performance, all that stuff. But this one, I feel like for a lot of people would be just about as good as the Eau de Parfum. Now that's not me saying the Eau de Parfum is below this, because I've worn the Eau de Parfum more than this, but I'm saying this one gets a bad rap sometimes that it doesn't deserve. Really nice freshness, good amount of sweetness in there as well. Not as sweet as the Eau de Parfum, but still has a nice sweetness to it. It's kind of that fresh laundry kick going on. Nice, classy, easy to wear during the winter. Smells amazing. So if you have this one, bust it out during the winter sometime. I know that the Eau de Parfum is better suited for most people during the winter, or Le Parfum, or Eau de Parfum Intense, or something like that, but this one's good too. And we'll end on Casual Life from Salvatore Ferragamo. This one has violet, it has coffee as one of the notes, musk as well, little citrus, little ambroxan in there. It is not your typical fresh fragrance. Obviously, with coffee in there and violet playing prominent notes, you probably already knew that. This one is actually decently unique. It's fresh, it's easy to wear, but those different notes added in here give it something that stands out a little bit. And it's also cheap from discounters, so that doesn't hurt. With this line, the original Uomo and Uomo Signature get most of the love, and for good reason. Those are absolutely amazing. And those are more typical wintertime fragrances, and they absolutely crush during winter. So Ferragamo Uomo and Uomo Signature, if you don't have those, if you've never smelled those, I do put those above this one, okay? I'm not saying this is better than those. I think both of those are better than this one. But this one is much more under the radar. And it has year-round usability, daytime or nighttime. It's good to the office. It's maybe not something that's gonna pull attention the same way as like Y will or Aqua Deo will, but it is certainly more unique than either of those, while still being something that is easily worn. So there we go. 6 different little scents here that work really well when it's cold out and also when it's warm. Thank you guys for hanging with me here. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.